so excited. Welcome to the signature masterclass, the signposts to satisfaction. Now, even though that's the tagline, we are going to be touching on all four of the energy types. I really wanted to create a program that was going to be for everyone, because there's so much value in human design. For me, when I found the human design system, it was the first system that gave me the licensing to be myself. And it really is a blueprint for you. Like, it is you energetically coded and put on a piece of paper, and it is a map to what makes you happy. Like, if we're making it super easy and super understandable, following your human design is just how you feel your best, how you feel your happiness, how you feel your happiest. And it gives you codes to really tap into your happiness, to tap into what is meant for you naturally, inherently. And when you do this, you start experiencing so much more flow into your life, because you're following your happiness. You're following codes that are making you feel lit up. You're inspired by what you're doing. It is the energetic blueprint for you feeling fully satisfied, fully lit up in all areas, because it affects life, work, relationships, so many different dynamics. Like, there's truly no area that human design isn't applicable to. And that's why I absolutely love this system. I love teaching about it. I love coaching on it. And I love when people start integrating this into your life, because it really is an experiment. Ra always said it's an experiment learning your human design, because we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different conditioning. We all see life differently. We've all experienced it so differently. And not only that, but we're all literally coded so differently. So my process of deconditioning, which is also called unprogramming, if you are not familiar, deconditioning is the term that we're going to use in human design, but it's synonymous. So when you are doing this work, when you are recoding yourself to actually embody the DNA that you've been coded with, but mentally you've created different neural pathways that don't align with your energetic blueprint, which is why we experience so much tension, so much resistance. That's why life starts feeling like super draining and frustrating, and we start feeling disappointed, and we start feeling bitter, and we start feeling angry. These aren't necessarily bad things, but these are indicators. These are signs. These are guidance in the form of emotions from the universe, letting you know, hey, wait a minute. This is not exactly how we should be living. This isn't exactly what we should be doing. This is not meant for us. So understanding your signature is so important, because your signature is literally that. It's the signpost that you are on track to how you are meant to be living, how you are meant to feel the most fulfilled, how you truly experience becoming your highest self and living your best life, because it is something that you get to follow in the moment. This isn't something that takes a long time. Right. And again, it's an experiment. So is it going to be perfect every time? Fuck no. Like, are you going to make mistakes? Of course. But it gives you codes. And once you are aware, once this seed is planted in your mind, you consciously have an awareness about this. So the subconscious patterns and traits that you have that go against this, that get you living in your not self theme, you are going to start being able to subconsciously notice, because you're going to say, wait a minute, this isn't how I want to feel. This isn't the best way to do this. There's an easier way. There's a better way. There's a more fulfilling way. There's a way that feels a lot better to me energetically. And so what your signature does is it allows you to, in the moment, know that you're going in the right direction, feel your best, because it's ultimately how your body was designed to feel when it's operating in harmony with the universe. That's what your signature is. When you are living in alignment, when you are living in your design, when you are living in harmony with the universe, you are experiencing your signature. So that's either going to be satisfaction if you are a generator or a manifesting generator. It's going to be success if you're a projector. It's going to be peace if you're a manifester. And that's going to be surprise if you are a reflector. So when you're experiencing those things, those are the signs from the universe that's like, fuck yes, keep going. This is awesome. But when you experience the opposite of that, which is your not self theme, those are the signs saying, whoa, whoa, stop, do not pass go, stop, do not, there is a cliff ahead. These are the signs saying, don't go this way, don't go this way. But unfortunately, society has taught us that life is a struggle, that once you're an adult, things are frustrating. Like I literally thought that when you became an adult, frustration was just your main emotion. Like it was my emotional home for so long because I was never taught how to live in my design. And every time I tried to and I fought against it, I met resistance from the outside world. And I just started believing, well, everyone's miserable when they grow up. People are either doing what they love to do and they have no money, so their quality of life is really poor, but they have a lot of happiness. Or conversely, you follow all of the rules, you check up all the boxes, you have all the money and the things, but you don't have any happiness and fulfillment. And for me, it was like, well, those are two fucking shitty options. I want that and that without that and without that. Like I never subscribed to all of that, but after so long of not having a system to follow, not having these blueprints, I was like, I'm just so fucking frustrated with everything. And the thing is when you're not self-themed becomes your emotional home, it trickles into every area of your life. So that's why it's so important to not allow yourself to live there, and to realize that there is a better way. There is a way where it gets to feel better for you. It gets to feel more fun. There's always a different way of doing something. So if something is causing your not self-theme and it's something that you want to do or have to do in some way, shape, or form, it all gets to be, how can I do it differently? How can it be more fun? How can I feel more satisfied? And the moment that I realized that frustration was not a consequence of living an adult life. It was a sign for me that I was investing my energy into something that wasn't meant for me. And it changed everything for me, because it no longer was about, well, I'm just going to go to work, be frustrated, complain all day, and then go home and drink with my work friends and complain about our misery and like do it all over again. That wasn't the vibe anymore, because I started to realize frustration was a choice. Frustration was something that, yes, I'm going to feel, but how long do I allow myself to feel it? And if I notice that I keep feeling frustrated, then what can I do to shift this? Because frustration doesn't feel good. Like, it's like, oh, it's like a full body just makes me like want to scream, because I'm a manifesting generator. So I have all of this energy in me. But if I'm focusing my energy on something that I don't want, it literally, I throw a bunch of energy into something and then I feel like I get hit down with frustration. It's like, oh my God. And I just got so sick of that, like up and down. And when I found human design, I realized, holy shit, like not only do I not have to feel this way, this is actually a sign. And when I can start feeling frustration in the moment, and when I can start being consciously aware of when I'm frustrated, then I can start shifting. And in the moment, I can start saying, okay, wait a minute, it's time to pause and pivot. That's something you're going to hear me say a lot in this. And that's because I'm talking to your subconscious mind, which loves repetition. But when you start experiencing your not self theme, I want you to pause and pivot. The moment that you notice that you are experiencing it, pause and pivot. Because when you pause, you are taking your focus out of what's frustrating you or out of what is causing you bitterness or anger or disappointment. And you're allowing yourself to refocus and to really do an energetic evaluation, is what I call it. And you're taking energetic inventory of what am I putting my energy into right now? Am I putting my energy into something that is frustrating me, that is making me feel disappointed, that's making me feel bitter, that's making me feel angry? If so, why? Why? Why do I feel like I have to do this? Is it something that I have to do? Is it something that I can delegate? Is it something that I can do differently? How can this feel better? How can I release it? If it's not going to make me feel better, if there's not a way to do it differently and it's frustrating me, then it's time to give it to somebody else, or it's time to release it. And these are options that we have when we start taking inventory, because we start, it's called a pattern interrupt in NLP, when your mind is starting to go somewhere or your body is starting to go into a feeling and it's not what you want to think about and it's not what you want to feel. You interrupt it. Just scared ghost. I'm sorry, babies. But it's a pattern interrupt, because like, what? That just totally like scared the fuck out of her. She was just chilling. And it might have scared you too, but it interrupts your mind, it interrupts your body, because it's so shocking that your body is like, wait a minute, what's happening here? And your mind also. So instead of you feeding into the not self-themed feelings, it's about, whoa, let me catch myself and let me see why I'm feeling this way, what's causing it, and then let me shift in the moment. And when we make conscious shifts in the moment, that's when we can start aligning with our signature. And our signature feels great. It feels amazing. So this really shouldn't feel like a chore, because we are taking ourselves from feeling shitty to feeling amazing. And that's what human design allows us to do. And one thing that is really important to know is that everyone has an energy type. Every energy type has a signature. And when you are following, or has a signature, has a not self theme, but has a strategy, is what I was trying to say there. So every energy type has a strategy. And when you are following your strategy, which is how you show up and interact with the world on the day to day, how you're interacting with the universe, so when you are following your strategy in human design, that is when you experience your signature. When you do not follow your strategy in human design, that is when you are going to experience your not self theme. So it's all going hand in hand. Really understanding your energy type allows you to understand your strategy and allows you to understand your signature and your not self themes. So when you realize that, honestly, following your strategy is probably the most difficult part of integration. When you start learning your human design, you're like, okay, yeah, I like hear what you're saying, but I don't really love it. Like, when I teach people their human design, everyone's like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing." But oh, the strategy piece, like how? I just don't know that I fully get how to live like that. And it's because we've been taught our entire lives to live opposite of that. We've been taught that everything needs to be logical, everything needs to be rational, everything needs to be analytical, everything needs to be thought through. We're making decisions through our mind. Everything is a mental process in the world we've been taught, but that's not the way it's actually. And we're not listening to our bodies. We're not listening to our intuitions. We're not following our inherent gifts. And human design is all about bringing that back to you. And one of the main things that human design teaches you is to get out of your head and get into your body, especially because your head is not a reliable source. It typically, most of us have a lot of open head centers. We have a lot of open head and andra centers, which makes us really susceptible. And if we don't have consistent flows of energy there, if there's not defined areas, then that's hard for us to know what is the truth in the moment when there's so many things going on. Our body is where the wisdom lies. And because the strategy itself is really a big experimentation, like learning your strategy, learning your authority, being able to follow them is a huge experiment. And that's why this program, we're going to touch on strategy, but I'm not going to tell you in insane detail how to follow your strategy. We're going to go into it, but this is something that you have to play with. But the thing that's so beautiful is when you start understanding these signposts, when you start understanding your signature, you are going to realize, oh, okay, I am living, and I'm living in my design, and I'm following my strategy because I am feeling satisfaction, I'm feeling success, I'm feeling surprise, I'm feeling peace. These are signs for you day to day to let you know. And while the integration process, the embodiment process, the experimentation, it can take a while, these signposts are instantaneous. If you check in with yourself right now, if on a scale to 1 to 10, 10 being fully lit up in your signature, satisfied, successful, peaceful, feeling surprised, or on the 0 to 1 scale, you are feeling frustration, you're feeling bitter, you're feeling angry, you're feeling disappointed, you'll realize that there's really like that scale, like imagine the Libra scale. It's going to come down to, these are the energetic signatures that are either you're stepping into this one and it feels really good, or you're stepping into this one and it feels really bad and it's depleting. And when you go on this side, this is when you're low vibrational, you're not feeling great, you're not trusting yourself, you're manifesting all of this craziness and chaos. But conversely, when you're living in alignment, you're fully lit up, things become easy, things are just flowing to you, you become magnetic towards your desires because you are choosing to vibrate at a frequency that feels good to you and energetically where you're meant to be. So these codes really help you to follow the overarching strategy that you have in human design for your energy type. So I will break down each one in case you're not aware, but I just want you to know that when you're trying to experiment with this, use your signature as a signpost. Use your not self theme as a signpost. Now, I do want to say, so we're gonna start getting into the 4 different types. And there's 2 things that I want to say. One, if you've never worked with me, if you've never been in a program, a mastermind with me, you will realize that one thing that I do is I do not linearly talk about anything. I always have a holistic approach. So even though I say I'm going to be talking about generators, and then we're going to go into projectors, and then we're going to go into manifestors and then reflectors, only because that's the order of population. Like we have the most amount of generators than projectors. So that's why I always teach that way. But when I'm talking about the generators, I'm also going to be giving you codes for all of the energy types on how to really embody your signature. So one, I don't want you to skip through to any of these sections being like, oh, well, that's not my energy type, that doesn't matter to me, let me just fast forward through. And that's also why I'm not going to give you timestamps, because I don't want you doing that. I really want you to listen to all of this, because there are things that I will say that will hit you. And I might be saying it towards another energy type, or I might be explaining how to really embody your signature. Can you stop, please? She's licking herself and it's all I can hear. Oh. So embodying your signature, I might be talking about one energy type, but the way I'm explaining it, even though you're a different energy type, that might really land with you. So I want you to really listen to all of this so you understand how it works, and so you can pick up the breadcrumbs throughout that are helping you to embody your signature and live in a way that feels really nourishing to your soul and feels really exciting and feels really good to you, because life gets to feel really exciting and really good, and it gets to be more fun and more flowy. And when we start tapping into our human design, we unlock those doors to flow and ease, the divine feminine, the receptive, because we're clearing space. We're not trying to control and force things. And that's really what your strategy does. It allows you to let go of the reins and realize that, yeah, like you're a conscious creator in this, but you're not doing it all alone. And if you start realizing that you don't need to try and control so much, you really need to just understand and fine tune yourself energetically to be able to really invite in this flow and this ease, which is again part of the deconditioning process, because we've been taught to fight our way through everything. We've been taught that in order to feel worthy, we have to accomplish something. We've been taught that hard work is how we receive money. We've been taught in all of these ways that are so inherently flawed for how we operate best. So this entire thing is one big deconditioning process. Okay, so the other thing I do want to say is that I'm only going to be talking about 4 energy types. Now, the reason I have to mention this is there's a lot of trendy, incorrect information that's taught online about human design. And while I'm not going to get into a rant about that, you will always hear me correct these incorrect teachings when it comes up applicable to my teachings. And I really wish that we didn't have to do this. The human design readers and the human design coaches that learned human design from the source, so that way it was accurate, because it's a sacred science. Human design is not an intuitive led art. Like it's not what it is. It's ancient wisdom combined with modern science. And the ancient wisdom is ancient wisdom that was around for generations, if not from almost the beginning of humanity. So these weren't new concepts. Like these were concepts that standed true to the test of time. And then we applied quantum physics and this modern science into it. So there's so much involved, and it's so complex and it's so multifaceted. But the reason that it's an actual blueprint for you in your life is because of the science and because of the way the system is divided. It is the system of differentiation. And that's just not sexy to say. So you're not going to hear people talking about, oh, human design is the science of differentiation. Some people say it, but most people don't, because it's not a sexy way that's going to be something that you can sell. And let's be honest, human design isn't sexy the way Ra wrote it, because he wasn't trying to make it sexy. He was trying to give you a user manual to change your fucking life. And he wasn't trying to make it sexy. He was trying to be a channel to receive this complex information and bring it to the world. Like he just wanted as many people to learn about it as possible. And understandably, and then women who, I said I wasn't going to go on a rant, and we've already started ranting. So here we go. But then women who found human design, realized it could be so applicable and so life-changing, decided they were going to put their own spin on it, and they were going to make it super sexy and super trendy, and it was going to be so fun and exciting to invest in, that there was a lot of things that they changed in the process to make it so it was sexier. But here's the thing. For me, personal fucking transformation is sexy. For me, standing in your personal power is sexy as fuck. For me, trusting yourself so much so that it does not matter what anyone else is saying or what is happening in your outside world because you are grounded in your truth. That's fucking sexy to me. And human design gives you the codes to do all of that without having to misinterpret the system. So we're gonna end the rant there, but just so you understand like the background, because I try not to rant about that often. I just try to correct the information. So getting back to that is we're only going to talk about 4 energy types today because there are 4 energy types. I am a manifesting generator. And for the first few years of me learning human design, I was taught correctly because I was learning from the source. And then when human design became trendy, people started telling me that as a manifesting generator that I had 2 strategies. And I was like, I'm sorry, wait, what? Like, what is happening now? And then they started telling me that I had to inform. And I was like, wait, I'm sorry, what? Like, I already am supposed to respond, and now I'm supposed to respond and inform. And then they started telling me that I was a half manifester and a half generator. And I was like, okay, well, now I know that you're wrong because Ra very, very clearly in his teachings goes out of his way to clarify that is not the case. Manifesting generators, like, is it because the term, like, I still don't truly understand how this miscomprehension happened, but the only thing I can think of is because generators, it was a term and an energy type, and manifestors was a term and an energy type. And so they thought because it says manifesting generator that they're a hybrid of the two. I don't know. Like, I just feel like they got super like sci-fi with it. Like when a vampire mates with a werewolf. Like, and that's not the fucking case, like at all. So if you're a manifesting generator, let's be very, very clear for you, baby girl. I love you so much. And I do not want you to be as confused as so many MGs are that come into my world. And like, I was even confused because these girls were so good at fucking selling this sexy version of HD that I was like, I learned it wrong. Like, this was on me. And I'm a very intelligent woman. Okay. Like straight A student, like I have this insane gift where I can learn something and immediately know and apply it, like to the point where people like are like, holy fucking shit. Like it is a gift that I have, and it's like a weird superpower. So like for me, even as a really intelligent woman who had been studying the system for a few years at this point, I even got sold on that because I was like, I don't know. They just sound so confident that this is the way it is. And I've just seen it now from all of these major accounts and all of these accounts that are making huge money and have so many followers, and they're just like really big in the world. So I just must be wrong because I'm just this little nobody. But it was like, no, like I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I'm not trying to just make money on people. Like I want to teach a system correctly because this is the system that literally gave me the freedom to be myself. And you're taking my freedom away as a manifesting generator and all of my MG soul sisters and brothers by telling them that they have 2 different energy types in them, and they fucking don't. So it's wrong. As a manifesting generator, you and I are always, will always be generators. We are generators. So what happened, if you're not aware of like the human design background, is generators were the only life force beings. What is happening with my hair today? It keeps sticking to my face and making me itchy. So generators were the only life force energy. There was just the projectors, the manifestors, and the reflectors and the generators. And then the generators, their mastery, they have the gift of mastery, but it takes a lot of time. It's slow. It's very like step by step by step by step. And the world started getting faster when we went into the electronic era. things started going faster, and the generator's energy was too slow to keep up with the energy and the consciousness shift that was happening once we became a highly digital world. So at that point, that is when the subtype, not hybrid, subtype of generators was born, because the world and our consciousness needed another energy life force being that could help facilitate faster changes. Like, I move fucking quickly. I skip steps like, whoa. Give me steps. I'm going to read your steps. I'm going to decide which steps I am going to do. And I'm going to fly the fuck through it. And I'm probably going to do it way faster and way better than you. And then there's also like the 30% chance that I'm going to fly the fuck through it, and I'm going to skip steps that were totally essential, and it's all going to flop. And then I'm going to be super fucking frustrated and over it and walk away. So there's a beauty in having a generator, because they don't have the I'm fucking over this and walking away. Generators, when they're in doing what they're meant to, their mastery is going to keep them going, but it's also going to take them a long time to get to there. Whereas the MG is like bing, 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 bing. We pop in, we pop out, and we leave like the details and shit to somebody else, because that's not our vibe. That is where the fifth type comes from, like, but it's not a fifth type. So this is super important for you to understand. And I hope you're like, oh my fucking God, what? Because this just goes to show you the women teaching this, they just don't know what they're talking about. And we got to stop it. We got to stop pretending like we know what the fuck we're talking about when we clearly don't. All right. So let's get into the energy types. Let's break them down. And then let's like get into some details. There's so much in this. Like, I literally have like 11 pages of notes right now. So you're going to see me look over at my notes, because I just want to make sure that I am touching base. And if you notice, like, I did not even introduce myself. Hi, I'm Alexa. Nice to meet you. Love you. So happy you're here. But like, we just jump right into it. If you have been in my world, you know, like, I just hit the ground fucking running. MG all the way. Gotta go. Like, we've got places to be, things to do, people to see. Okay. So this just helps me as an emotional MG stay on track. And I'm also an Aquarius, and I have a stellium in Aquarius. So I'm aloof, like, whoa. And I'll just start channeling and probably miss half the things that I actually want to say to you. All right. So generators, manifesting generators. Our goal in life is to move through life experiencing satisfaction and moving away from areas of frustration. Plain and simple. It's really how it boils down. Our signature is satisfaction. Our not self theme is frustration. Our strategy is to wait to respond. Now, this is the key, right? So I said your strategy is going to be the part that is a little more overarching. It's going to take you some time to apply. But when you're following that, that's when you're going to experience your signature. So if we reverse engineer it, and we know that our signature is satisfaction and we want to feel satisfied, then we can also look at, okay, if I'm feeling satisfied right now, did I wait to respond to something? And then that is allowing me to feel satisfied now. And it's typically going to be yes. And vice versa. When we're experiencing frustration and we go, okay, did I wait to respond, or did I force myself into this? And it's probably going to be, I forced myself into it. And that's why I'm experiencing frustration. So when you respond to life, you experience satisfaction because you're in flow. You've surrendered. You're not trying to control. The release of control releases the resistance energetically, and it releases that frustration. And you're trusting the universe to bring you what you desire, which allows you to invest your energy in what's meant for you. And being that we are 70% approximate of the population, we are the life force energy. So we need to be lit up by what we're doing, because we're literally providing the life force energy for the consciousness, for the planet, for every other type. And that's kind of like a big responsibility, but let's not make it so serious. Instead, let's see it as how fucking fun is that? Because when I'm feeling lit up, me feeling lit up is literally helping the goddamn planet. The happier I am, the more satisfied I am, the better I am contributing to society. Like, what? That is awesome. That's liberating. That's fun. That's cool. That's exciting. And excitement is allowing us to tap into that satisfaction, to feel really good, to allow ourselves to really soak up in how good life can really feel. Even though we've been taught that's not the way it is, fuck that, because it wasn't fun doing it the other way. So, how can we have more fun? How can we be more lit up? Satisfaction is literally the driving force, it's the signpost guiding us if we are living a fulfilling life and we're finding fulfilling work. Now, the one thing that is so important, so important for you to understand as a manifester, manifesting generator, or a generator is that you and your well being are directly linked to your work. So if you're doing work that is uninspiring, that drains you, that makes you fucking miserable, that frustrates you, that work is going to drain you energetically. It's going to probably cause sickness in physical, mental, emotional, in some way, because your well being literally is dependent on getting satisfied and having satisfaction in the work that you do. So it's the complete opposite of what we were told, that you either are the starving artist or you're the successful businessman. That's not the case. You get to have the success and find it by finding your satisfaction, because that's going to allow you to invest your energy in work that's really important to you. So, like I said before, the generator, you're here to have mastery in one field. So, for you, it's what area am I the most satisfied with? Like, what do I love doing the most? Because when you realize what that is and you start mastering that area, you are going to become a happier, healthier version of yourself. It's going to strengthen your energetic signature because you're going to be embodying the feelings that you're coded to feel with, which is that satisfaction. And it's really about allowing yourself to throw away the notion that you have to do work that you hate, because that sucks. It doesn't feel good. And working just to pay the bills, but to be so unhappy is not the way it's meant to be. Like, that's not what life is. This whole idea that we're meant to spend all of our time working in a cubicle and then drink our weekends away because we're so depressed we have to go back to work on Monday until we retire, that sucks. That notion absolutely sucks. Who wants to do that? Who wants to only enjoy their life once they retire? The only moment you have is right now. The only moment that's promised is this one right here. So why would you want to live your moments feeling terrible, doing work that you absolutely hate? It just doesn't make any fucking sense. But we've just heard it for so long that we bought into it. And I did too. So like, we're not blaming, but we freeing ourselves, because these are limitations that were put on us that we bought into because so many people kept telling us. And our brains were programmed to believe this because this is what, as kids, we witnessed growing up. And as kids, our subconscious mind is a sponge, absorbing all of the feelings, actions, emotions, and things, and building an identity based on that. So if you're a generator who has never experienced, or a manifesting generator who has never experienced satisfaction in your work, then this is going to be a huge transition for you, because you're going to have to realize that, yeah, like I am linked with this. Like, every time I do work that I hate, I feel it. I'm depressed, I'm anxious, I'm frustrated, and it trickles through in every area of my life. So it's about, how can I do work that lights me up? And I'm not saying go into work tomorrow and give them your 2 weeks notice and have no fucking backup plan, because that's not going to help anyone either. but it's about having micro steps that can get to the macro transformation. So just becoming conscious of this and then starting to build a plan of like, okay, I'm not satisfied in my work, but in what areas am I satisfied? What do I love doing? What would I be really satisfied doing? Even if, and especially if it doesn't make any fucking sense. If you're a lawyer right now and you feel very called to go open a bakery and make tiny cakes, and that's like what your soul is asking you to do, then open the fucking bakery, make your tiny cakes. Because if you're feeling lit up by that, other people are going to feel the love when they're eating your tiny cakes. They're going to be lit up by it. You could start a tiny cake revolution. It does not matter. Logistics, we're throwing them out the fucking window. Doesn't matter what anyone else thinks either. Here's the thing is, especially like our parents' generation and higher, they generationally were sold struggle on a fucking silver platter. So they think that us, the newer generations, are super ungrateful because we don't want to spend our lives in a fucking field. We don't want to work until we have blisters on our hands. We don't want to be in a factory that has harmful air for us to breathe in. We don't want to risk limbs while working. We actually do want to travel the world. We actually would like to have a lot of money and have nice things, but also have really enriching experiences. And we also are like, okay with you doing you and me doing me. Just don't tell me how to be me, and I won't tell you how to be you. Like, these were not concepts that happened with them. So they've either started living in their design and going against society, or they've just given up and they're still programmed that way. So don't waste time and energy trying to convince someone who like isn't going to get it and never is going to get it of these things. Like, you don't have to spend time talking about these things with people. That's like when you're manifesting something and somebody doesn't believe in it, they don't get it. Like, you don't want to share that with them because it's going to bring more self-doubt into you. So realize that there are some people in your life that might get this, but there's other people that like might never. So it's not about what everyone else is doing, but how can you realize that when you start becoming the master of your own world, without having to necessarily have all of these conversations, things start rearranging in your life because your vibration is changing, your frequency is changing. When you follow your signature, you become a magnet for all of your manifestations. You start having so much fucking fun. You throw out the idea that it has to be so serious. Like, why? Why can't things be fun and exciting and like, why do they have to be so boring? You know, serious is boring, and there's a time and place for it, right? But when we allow our energy to flow, when we allow ourselves to do what feels good, that's when it's easier for us to stay in alignment with our signature, with your satisfaction, if you're a manifesting generator or a generator. So you have to realize that frustration is your energetic drain. It is literally, you are just this big balloon, just like shining brightly. You're one of those big shiny balloons that those women have when they hit those big milestones, money milestones. And then, pew, somebody pops a pin in you. And that pin, it's just a tiny little pinprick. But you know that the longer that pinprick is allowed to exist, slowly but surely, it's going to drain it all out. And that's what ends up happening. And the frustration just boils up and boils over and boils over. Now, if you go to sleep frustrated because you're frustrated by all of these different things and then you're going to wake up feeling frustrated, and it's going to set the tone for your next day. But the opposite is also true. When you feel satisfied when you go to sleep, you're going to wake up feeling satisfied. So how can you realize in the moment, how can you do that pattern interrupt and notice frustration? Okay, I'm feeling frustrated. What am I thinking about right now? Who am I talking to? What am I investing my energy in? What is causing this frustration? Because the faster you can get to the source, the faster you can find a solution. And that's what this is constantly doing. It's a constant self-analysis, and it's taking your energetic inventory of yourself, of your life, of your emotions, of how you're feeling, all of it. It all matters, and it's all building up to show you. And it's not a bad thing to feel frustrated all the time. unless it's all the time. Feeling frustration is just a sign. Abraham Hicks will tell you that when the gas light goes on in your car, you don't get mad at your car, say, what the fuck, you ran out of gas. Like, that's not what happens. You're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to run on low, starting to run on empty. I should probably pull over, and I should pause what I'm doing, and I should fill up, put some more gas in this, and make sure my tank is good, make sure I can keep going about my day. That's exactly what your not self theme is. It is just a sign that shows up saying, wait a minute. And here's the thing is, you could be that person that when your light comes up, when the low gas tank comes on, you could be that person that says, oh, I'm going to pull over at the next gas station right now. We're going to handle this right now. Okay. All right. And then keep going about your day. Or you could be the person that says, ooh, all right, well, I'm just going to ignore that. I'm just going to keep going. Let's see how long I can push this. I don't know. Like, I don't really know exactly how long I've got, but I'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Like, then every time you get in your car, you're like, oh fuck, I gotta go get gas again. Like, oh my God. And you're always in the back of your head, like, don't worry. And like, will I run out of gas? Will I not run out of gas? But you just keep pushing. And like, which obviously isn't that flowy. It's causing more resistance. It's straining you every time. But then there's also a third person. There is the person that takes such good care of their car that they don't even allow their tank to go below 1/4 of the tank. Even though no sign has come on yet, they know that the inevitability of the way that their car is designed, that running out of gas, or if you have, let's cover it all right now, or if you have an electric car running out of electricity, you know that it is just an inevitability. It is not something you try and fight against. It's something that you know is a natural evolution of life. It's something that you experience, and so you prepare for it. So knowing that that's going to happen, and you would rather be able to experience the most flow, you'd rather be able to just drive where you want to drive, when you want to drive, without having to pull over and take time away from what you're doing to fill up your tank, that when you notice your tank is running somewhat low, you pull over and you fill it up. Knowing that when you have a full tank, when you continue to have a full tank, and when you allow yourself to operate with mostly a full tank at most of the time, your car runs better. You have less problems. Driving your car isn't stressful. It just is what it is. Getting gas and filling up your tank isn't stressful. It's just something that you do when you start noticing that, oh, I should do this so I show up as my best, so my car works the best. It is the same thing with your body. You can be that person that experiences your not self theme, and you could just keep pushing through. Well, yeah, I'm feeling frustrated right now, but I'm just going to keep fucking doing this and get more frustrated. Or you could be the person that feels frustrated, notices it, and stops and evaluates and tries to have a new plan. Or you could be the person that as soon as you start noticing and you're starting to feel a little drained, you're starting to feel a little tense in your shoulders, you're starting to feel it all just like kind of like cramp up, say, okay, wait a minute. I'm going to get up, I'm going to stretch, I'm going to go drink some water, I'm going to walk away from this, I'm going to recharge a little bit, because I don't know, I'm just not feeling fully there right now. And I know that I just got to change some things. I just got to move. I just got to get my energy flowing. There's always a different way to approach this. But do you see how the one way is super fucking resistant build and the other way is way more flowy? When you take energetic inventory, that's what happens. It is you treating your body as the vessel that it is, understanding that nothing is bad or good. Everything just has the meaning that we apply to it. So instead, let's not get upset that we're feeling frustrated. Let's not start being a bitch to ourselves and say, what's wrong with you? You're always feeling frustrated. Like, that doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help anything. It's having the graciousness to understand that you're a human, and there will absolutely be things that frustrate you. But how can you move away from the frustration? How can you avoid the frustration, which is the best case scenario? Like, let's avoid it as much as we can. And when it shows up, be like, oh, okay, we definitely gotta pivot. We're off track right now. Or feeling frustrated, noticing it, and pivoting as soon as you notice it. It's ideally about, though, not feeling frustrated and then keep forcing through it, because it doesn't help anyone, because the energy that you do something in is the energy that's going to be felt by other people. So frustration is like, that's not the vibe. That's not what people want to experience through you. So the work is noticing when you're experiencing your not self theme as quickly as you can, if not preemptively. Noticing it beforehand, realizing that we all have signs. We all have physical symptoms. We all have emotional symptoms. We all have energetic symptoms that are letting us know when our energy is depleting. And that's going to show up differently for all of us. But when you can start understanding for you, what does it look like when I'm fully energized? What does it look like when I'm fully drained? What does it look like when I'm starting to get drained? These are the codes that lead the micro changes that lead to macro transformations, because it's you really interrupting your subconscious mind and the neural pathways from going in the way it's always gone, and you deciding, no, like, I know I've always felt frustrated doing this, but we're going to shift. We're going to start feeling satisfied more, and realizing that frustration doesn't get to be our emotional home. We are shifting that towards satisfaction, and realizing that we can't shift that overnight if we've been feeling frustrated for so many years. But how can we sprinkle satisfaction throughout our day? And how can we start being more mindful so that satisfaction gets to be something that is our energetic home? And how fucking cool would that be, right? So this is really leading to the energetic fine-tunement process and really refining your energetics. Because when you realize that this all has an energetic pull, a vibrational pull, then you start realizing, like, this is the frequency I want to be at. I want to be at the satisfied frequency. So when I start feeling pulled away from it, I come back to it. And the more times you are able to do that and fine tune and refine your energy, the more you're going to have a vibrational range around satisfaction. It's not going to be likely for you to be satisfied and be feeling amazing, and for one thing to happen and you go to all the way to totally fucking frustrated. But if you're really frustrated and you're vibrating in an emotional range of mostly always frustration, then anything that happens is going to frustrate you, because that's just where you're at and what you're available for. And understanding this all helps you to master your energetics. And that's how you live in harmony with the universe, because we live in a vibrational universe. And when you are operating in your signature, you are operating at your highest vibration, which means that everything becomes possible for you. And that's what's so fun and exciting, because then manifestation gets to occur. Then having just an amazing life that lights you up gets to be the experience of it. It's really releasing from the notions that you have to do work that you hate, releasing the notion that it has to be hard, deconditioning from the struggle instead of force. Excuse me, instead of forcing things and trying to make everything happen, it's about deciding what you want as a manifesting generator or generator, deciding what you want, and then allowing the universe to give you an opportunity to receive it. And that's what you're responding to, keeping yourself in a higher energetic state. So that way the things that and the opportunities and the people are something that you want to experience, and it's going to be satisfying for you. And having this conscious awareness that this signpost exists and that satisfaction should be the ultimate question. Like, is this satisfying me? How can I find more satisfaction? What areas do I feel satisfied in? when do I feel satisfaction? Like, training yourself to focus on satisfaction is going to change everything for you because, like I said, it's going to trickle in. So when you're satisfied with yourself, when you're satisfied with your work, it's all going to trickle in like together. You know what I mean? So you're going to be experiencing satisfaction in your personal life and your professional life because the two are so interlinked for you as a generator, as a manifesting generator. All right, let me see. Is there anything else that I wanted to talk about with? Oh, yeah. So, really, the process that you can go through to get to the root of it and pivot and get back quickly is saying something like, okay, I'm noticing that I feel frustrated right now. What is frustrating me? What am I focusing my energy into? How can I shift the work that I'm doing to relieve this frustration? Can I delegate this to someone else? Can I do this another way? One that feels more satisfying. Or if it's a thought that's frustrating you, starting to feel frustrated right now. What was I thinking about that was causing me frustration? Is this thought ultimately true? Can I choose to view it differently? What is a better thought to think? What thoughts on this subject cause me to feel satisfaction? Why am I feeding into thoughts of frustration when I can choose to feel satisfied instead? It's your ability to shift back and stay aligned with satisfaction that creates a strong energetic signature. You keep yourself in that higher vibration. And that's when you're able to tap into play and satisfaction and ease, and your life is going to become better because you're tapping into those feelings. Now, I'm going to have some questions that you will be able to journal through, but it's really going to be around satisfaction. What type of work feels the most satisfying to me? What areas light me up? Am I truly satisfied in my work? In what areas am I satisfied? In what areas am I frustrated? Am I truly satisfied with my life? In what areas am I satisfied? In what areas am I frustrated? Because the key is here is to really understand the signpost for you and your energy type, but also how do you experience that? Because we all experience things a little differently. How I feel frustration may not be how you feel frustration. And the same for satisfaction. But when you can identify how that appears and how that feels to you, that is really going to help you nail these concepts because you're going to be able to be like, okay, I see the warning signs. So before the low gas light comes on, you're like, oh wait. I'm starting to feel this right now. Like I know that this is a sign that I'm starting to get frustrated. When you can identify how it feels in your body, when you can realize what it feels like to experience this, you can also start realizing when you're starting to experience it. So it's not a full blown frustration. You know what I mean? So that is the work, is really identifying the signpost, getting clear on what it is, and then getting clear on how it shows up for you, and then allowing yourself to follow the signature as much as possible. Like, how can you live in alignment with that? How can satisfaction be your driving force? All right, so let's move on to projectors now. So the main goal for projectors is to move through life experiencing success and moving away from areas of bitterness. Signature is success, not self-theme is bitterness. Strategy is to wait for the invitation. So same, when you follow your strategy, your signature appears. So when you wait for the invitation, you experience success. Now, that's because you're investing your energy in what's meant for you. And then you're able to guide people with your innate claircognizance. Like projectors, that is your superpower for fucking sure, is claircognizance. You have this knowingness. You just know things that other people don't know. And you can't really tell us why you know it because it's beyond comprehension. It's beyond the logical mind. It's just an innate knowing. But the thing is, when you are not invited to share that knowingness with someone. You're going to feel bitter because that person isn't going to appreciate what you're saying. They're not going to recognize you for the beauty that you offer in this claircognizance. And when you give them wisdom or you give them advice or you tell them a way to move through this differently, but the person isn't ready to hear it, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And that is going to mean that you, as a projector who doesn't have consistent flows of energy, are going to be giving a super amount of energy to someone that is basically just like slapping it off. And then that energy just dissipates. And you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, that's why you become bitter, because you're like, I just gave you all of this wisdom. I just gave you all of these answers. I just gave you all this advice. Like, I just told you how to fix this fucking problem. And you basically said, yeah, go fuck yourself. I'm going to stay miserable. Like that's how it feels to a projector. It just feels like a slap in the face because you're like, dude, what? Like, I literally am just trying to help you right now. And that's why that invitation is so important, because when somebody says, as a projector, like, hey, going through this right now, and they say, and they're like, but I'm just really not sure, like, how to move through this. How would you? Like, that's the invitation right there. It doesn't need to be like a formal wedding invite in the mail, but it's somebody asking you to share your wisdom, to share your advice, to share how you would move through something. How would you do it? Because you are meant to guide people, and people notice that about you. But you have to realize that somebody can only meet themselves at the level that they're ready to. So you have to allow that person to come to you, so that way you can experience that success that you desire. And that's the same with business in everything. It's always about that invitation. So how can you change your notion of the formality of an invitation? And how can you start seeing all of the different invitations that are out there in the world for you to share your gift, this guide that you are naturally? You have this ability to see things from the very beginning, the first step, to the milestones, to the final, to the finish line. Like, you're able to see this so clearly, and you're able to put those pieces together so well, which is something as an MG that I'm always like, ugh, how do you do that? I need an MG in my, or I always say as an MG that I need a projector like in my business life, because y'all are so good at being like, well, like, obviously this is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. This is how we're going to do this. Like, you can streamline processes so easily. You can just like really just cut through the black and white nuance, where I'm like bing, 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 just like jumping up and down just to waste energy, because I don't freaking have any idea how to make this a streamlined process, but I do have a lot of energy to get me a lot of places. So we'll figure it the fuck out. Like, everybody's got a different way, but I know that my way is sometimes exhausting. And projectors, like, you don't have energy like that. You're not going to be bouncing off the walls trying to figure something out. Like, you're gonna be like, okay, well, let me know when you're done bouncing, because I can guide you through this. Like, with projectors, you just have this ability to know things that not everyone else has. So sometimes you're like, but I just don't get why you don't get this. My father was a projector growing up. So was my sister. And growing up, I used to be like, is there something wrong with them, or is there something wrong with me? And I know that, like, there wasn't a lot of patience there between the two of them. It was just like, this is what I know, and I know it because I know it. And now operate off of my knowingness. And I don't have time to explain to you why, because there is just no reason. It's because I said so, and this is the way that it is. So duh. And it was like, wait, what? Like, I did not resonate with that. And that was not my vibe, but that was like the vibe that I clearly was getting off. So I was like, well, I'm not going to fucking do it that way, but I'm just not going to talk to y'all. I'm going to do it my own fucking way over here. Break all them damn rules. Don't give me a box. Don't give me a box. So we all just do things and approach life so differently, but the bitterness really comes through when you, as a projector, don't feel recognized. When you feel bitter, it's the opposite of success, because for you, recognition is is a form of success. And you are always looking for success in all areas, even if it's not monetary success, success in relationships, success in, it can come in any form, but it's really for you to be aware of the fact that this is the biggest energetic leak for you. Bitterness is. And because you don't have those consistent flows of energy like a generator or a manifesting generator does, then you have to be really, really conscious about cleaning up energetic leaks, being super aware when you have an energetic leak. If there's someone in your life that constantly causes you to be frustrated, or excuse me, bitter, if there is a situation that keeps coming up that causes you to be bitter, if there's something in your work that keeps causing you to be bitter, these are areas that you need to look into, because again, experiencing bitterness isn't a bad thing, but it's a sign that you are not on the right track. And projectors are often raised like the opposite of me. They're often raised by generators, because generators are just, or manifesting generators are just the largest part of the population that they've been taught that they have to do. And as a projector, you're not meant to do. You're meant to guide. Now, another huge misconception in human design that is just fucking wrong is the fact that projectors are only meant to work 3 to 4 hours a day. Like, I truly could not even guess how that fucking existed. Like, I know who came up with it, but I don't understand where the fuck she came up with that. Like, where? Like, where would you even pretend that that is said in human design? To me, it's just wild. A projector is not meant to work 3 to 4 hours in a day. That does not exist. As I say that, thunder comes rumbling in. If that's not a sign from the fucking heavens, then I don't know what is. Projectors, you are meant to work differently. We all are. Like, every energy type is. Differently does not mean that you've now been boxed into a certain amount of hours. You are someone that inherently takes naps. Like, you're somebody that rests a lot more, because a lot of the work that you do is in your mind and is in the layout process, and really that organization and putting things together and planning things out. Like, you're the person that when you're going to create, if you were going to create a course, like for you, that course would be like journaling a lot of it and like writing it out, or like making some Google Docs, or like whatever it is. But it would be something that felt easy and good to you. It wouldn't be you recording like module after module where you're talking for like 17 hours. That's not how your energy type works the best. So you're going to be streamlining for a lot of it and then guiding for some of it. You know what I mean? But it's about working with your energy, not being tied into an hour box, because like, can we just like get out of the fucking patriarchy already? The patriarchy is the ones that's trying to tell you that an 8-hour workday is normal. And that came from the Industrial Revolution and like all of this bullshit. But especially as a female, we need to stop telling females that you have to work X amount of hours in a day, or you're only meant to work X amount of hours in a day. There is a human design reader who is absolutely phenomenal, who's been doing this for decades, like probably older than you even are. And she's a projector, and she typically works 16-hour days. Fucking loving what she's doing, because she's working as a guide. She's working with her energy. She's not trying to do, like, she's not trying to take her physical body and do all these things. She's not out plucking grapes in a wine vineyard. Is that even what they do? I don't know. But you know what? Like, you go follow me on this one. Like, she's not out using her body for 16 hours a day. That's not how she's working. She's doing human design readings. She's coming up with, courses, information, like all these different things. But she still typically works like 16 hours a day. And she's so lit up. And she's fully living in her design, because she's been doing this fucking for as long as I've been alive. So I just really gotta got to scream that one from the rooftops again, because it's so wrong. And when I start pointing these things out, my hopes also is that we're going to start realizing that the people that are teaching this don't understand human design. So let's stop buying into trendy things and let's start really understanding the system, because that's how we can understand ourselves. Okay. So really, as projectors, it's about finding success. Like, what does success feel like to you? What does bitterness feel like to you? Because when you can identify this, and when you can shift towards success, and when you can put yourself in rooms with people that make you feel successful, that recognize you, that acknowledge you, that is something that you as a projector just need. Like, you are somebody that needs to be acknowledged. You get very bitter when you're not. So if you're around people that are never acknowledging you or never making you feel recognized for the value that you offer, you're going to start feeling bitter a lot. And that can also happen if you're doing work that happens a lot in. So again, it's all going to come into shifting and becoming super intentional with your energetic management. And I might use terms that you're like, what even is this? But we've already talked about energetic inventory, managing your managing your energy. It's, these terms can all be used interchangeably. I might have created them all. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But what matters is that as a projector, you are constantly looking for invitations for you to share your wisdom so that you can experience success. And one thing with that is, if someone is ready to hear what you have to offer, the wisdom that you have to offer, they're going to ask you. Like, we don't have to make it any more complicated than that. If somebody wants to know, they're going to ask. If the person doesn't ask, they're not ready to know. Like, that's the simplest way that I can break down you following your strategy so that you can feel successful, is just using that simple breakdown. I know that you have all of these answers. I know that you have all this knowledge. I know that you have all this wisdom to share. I know that you want to share it. But did anybody ask you to? Did anybody ask you to share it? Or are you sharing it because you have all of this knowingness, and a little kind of deep part of you thinks that if you share it, somebody's going to be like, oh, wow, that was so great. You're so smart. That was so helpful. Thank you so much. Are you trying to seek recognition from somebody who's not going to recognize you? Because if they were going to recognize you, they would have asked for the input so that they could then recognize you. See how that works? And it's such a different shift there. Now, I feel like I just missed something that I want to talk about. Oh, so one thing that happens is, if we are feeling into our not self theme a lot, we're going to have a weaker energetic signature, and people are going to feel that. But when we are able to really hone in on feeling our best, and living in our design, we're going to have this really strong emotional signature, energetic signature. And the one thing that I will say is that when you have an emotional authority, regardless of what type you are, if you have an emotional authority like me, your energy fluctuates. But one thing I want to say is that having a fluctuating energy does not mean that you have an erratic energetic signature. It just means that there are shifts within your energy. And when you're able to learn to ride your wave and notice these shifts, but still hold your power, that's when you're going to be able to have a strong energetic signature as an emotional authority. And if you want to know how to ride your wave and really be able to navigate that process, then emotional, my program that I have, is totally for you. It's going to teach you all of that. But one thing, when we're talking about all of these emotions and this emotional mastery, and this energetic signature is sometimes I feel like emotional authorities are like, okay, yeah, but like there's only X amount of time until my wave comes in and I start riding a different wave and then my frequency changes. And that means that I can't have a strong energetic signature, right? And it's like, no, you absolutely can, because it's all about holding your power, personal power, right? So when we're getting into our not self theme quite often, typically it's because we are living in an evidence based reality. We are living in the Newtonian world where there's a cause and effect, instead of really living in the quantum world that we absolutely live in. And when we do this, when we are looking at the external world to dictate how we feel, we're giving our power away. It's circumstantial power. And then we're always relying on the universe to dictate how we feel, which that's an erratic energetic signature. When somebody is constantly giving their power away, that's completely different than having an emotional authority and standing in your power while you ride a wave. Now, you can feel this when somebody comes in and they're just like chaotic. Like there's some people that you're like, God, like I don't know you, but I don't want to know you because holy cannoli, whatever is going on inside of there, that's not for me. We can feel that. We're always picking up on people's energetic signatures. So it's really important for you to realize that personal power means you are mastering your internal world. Mastering your internal world means mastering your energetics, mastering your emotions, mastering your mindset, because that's what's creating everything else. So using your signature as guideposts helps you to stay in your personal power, because it is a sign of, wait a minute, did I just drop my power? Because when you're feeling your not self theme, that's another way of you dropping your power. You're giving your power away to something outside of you, something that's not meant for you. You're investing your energy in a person that can't match your energy or can't honor your energy. There are so many ways that this like overlaps and it plays in, but your energetic signature is felt. It's felt by the universe, it's felt by other people. And that's why you can focus on you. Do you put your blinders on and you can change your emotional world? You can change your energetic vibration. You can strengthen your energetic signature. And you might not have a conversation with X, Y, and Z people in your life about this. And then you show up somewhere, you meet them, you run into them, and they're like, oh my God, like, what happened to you? You just like, you look so different. You like, your vibe just feels so different. Like, you just seem so much happier, so much more confident. Like, I don't know, you're just like more approachable, all these things. It's because we have thrown out the rule book that's telling us to live a boring, painfully illogical life. And instead we're like, ooh, I've started playing with this human design thing. And I'm like following these ebbs and flows and like satisfaction, success. They're guiding me. And when I'm not feeling that, I know that that's a sign that I get to feel better. I get to feel better. And I'm no longer investing my energy in people, places, and things that drain my energy, that cause my not self theme to come out, because I understand how interwoven this all is. And for me to feel my best, for me to manifest easily and consistently, for me to vibrate high, for me to live in my design, for me to live and create a life that I'm so fucking lit up by in every moment, understanding that I'm human and I'll have emotions, especially if I'm an emotional authority, but like having that be the standard is that things get to be fucking amazing. Things get to be fucking good. Things get to come into my life easily and effortlessly because I want them, because I get to have them. There's a whole deconditioning process in there. But your energetic signature is going to be magnetizing it all, or it's going to be pushing it all away from you. And that's why this is so important for manifestation as well, because manifestation occurs when you're feeling your best and when you don't have blocks around what you get to have, what you can't have, all of these different things. Okay, so that was like a little bit of a segue off of projectors, but this is how we do in my world, okay? So one thing I want to say about success for you as a projector is it's success on your own terms. Like fuck the version of success that you've seen on television or that you grew up in school hearing about. What does success feel like for you? Honestly, like what does it feel like for you and how can you tap into that? Because you get to feel successful, you get to experience success, and it gets to happen daily. It really does. But if you're trying to build a life based on a version of success that you've seen, that success isn't actually going to give you the feeling that you want, because that is going to be a really vapid version of success that was never your version of success. So your journaling prompts are going to be really to get clear on, what does success feel like to me? What do I envision when I envision success? How does success feel the best? Like, there's the one thing I love about human design is it allows you to start thinking outside of the box, because we have all of these constructs in our head. And it's like, but if that isn't actually limiting me and it isn't actually defining the quality of my life, and I get to question all of it, like fucking all of it, if I get to build my own interpretation of this, how do I want it to feel? How do I want it to look? What inherently feels good to me? And allowing that to feel really good and to feel really freeing, because you are here to help guide people. You're here to master systems and processes, but working shows up differently for you. And like, you have so much, so many gifts and so much uniqueness in you and in the way that your mind works, that you, out of all of the energy beings, are really like the masters of the mind. Like, you guys have this mental game. Like, think about it. Projectors, like, if you think about a literal projector, they're just projecting onto the screen. Like, you guys have this mastery of the world. If you think of the law of mentalism, I think of projectors, because you just have this beauty and this ability where I find that the not self themes of the open centers of the head and Anja, they don't seem to affect you as much, because you are able to trust in your knowingness, because you just know. It's this level of certainty that most people have to work their entire lives to even ever feel, if ever. It's a level of certainty that most people don't have. And what I need you to know is your certainty doesn't need to be understood logically. It really doesn't. If you are surrounded by people that you're meant to be surrounded by, they are naturally going to be the ones that are like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you're so brilliant. I couldn't have done this without you. Like, I'm so grateful you were here, because I would have never been able to come up with that. Like, this would have been an all day thing for me. And you just handled it so easily, so graciously. And it just makes sense. And I'm so grateful, because I would not have been able to do this. Like, the people in your life that you're meant to really be around are the ones that are going to, without you ask, give you recognition. And when you are around a projector, if you're not a projector, like, these are things that you can start doing so that they feel more honored and supported in their lives. And there are people who are going to bring out your not self theme for all of us, but understand that those aren't your people. That's not your tribe. Like, if it's someone in your family, maybe not like cut them off like completely, but you should probably limit the amount of time that you spend talking to them or sharing your dreams with them or talking about your business or things like that. Because if people can't honor you and who you are, and if people are always bringing out your not self theme, like, again, sign from the universe, like, hey, not your person, not your person. And that's okay, because there's so many people that will be your people. So understand that the people you like are meant to be around are going to give you the recognition that you desire. So for you, questions like, what does success feel like to you? What does success look like to you? When do you feel the most successful? In what areas do you want to find success? And what areas have you found success? Because that helps you build evidence to for your subconscious mind to be able to break down and reverse engineer, like, what does success actually like? What have I experienced success in? What does it feel like? It helps you guide yourself backwards if needed. You probably don't need it because you're projectors. So, like, what drains you? Who drains you? When do you feel bitter? These are all questions for you to take that energetic inventory of what's working for you, what's not working for you. When are you living in your design? When are you living out of alignment? You should be feeling successful. Like, you are the people that, if you're working in a corporate career, you probably find success very often. And you should be working somewhere where success is something that you feel a lot. If you feel like you don't feel it at your work, then you should go somewhere where you're going to find it, or create your own business and realize that you get to be successful and there's nothing wrong with being successful, but create success on your own terms. All right. We are just moving through now. So, manifestors, you are designed to move through life experiencing peace and moving away from areas of anger. Your signature is peace, your not self theme is anger, and your strategy is to inform. So, when you inform, before you take action, you experience peace. And that's because when you let the people in your life know that you're going to move, you are free to move. You're able to really get into a state of flow and creation and manifestation, which is what you're here to do. And it's really bringing your magic to life without interruption, because that avoids you feeling angry. You feel angry when you're disturbed, when you're trying to create something. So peace is really the cornerstone of your life. When you're feeling peaceful, you're in a state of creation. You become a clear channel to receive inspiration, to manifest easily, to bring your manifestations to life, because you're literally here to do that. It's your inherent state. And since you were conditioned as a child to operate out of your design, it can be such a personal liberation for you to live in this way. You're only 8% of the population because you're the conscious creators who are here to bring things into this world that don't already exist. And you're constantly receiving inspiration when you're living in your design. The whole "I want it, I got it" is the perfect motto for you, because you really do get to have everything that you want. And when you realize that peace is what you get to feel, and anger is only a sign that you are investing your energy into something you're not meant to, then you're able to use these signposts and allow yourself to really get excited and to be inspired by ideas, because then you're meant to bring it to life right away. Like, that is your unique magic. But you need to have space to bring that magic online, which is why you need to inform people in your life, especially the ones that you live with and work with. Because if you are receiving a download to go create something, and then you just run off and go do that thing, and then 20 minutes into it, somebody comes knocking on your door, somebody opens the door, somebody comes in like, talking to you, whether it's your kid, your husband, your partner, whatever it is, then you're gonna be like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you're gonna go from creation to anger because you were peacefully in your flow. And then you have all of this energy, this creative energy flowing through your body, and you're flowing it into the thing that you're doing. But then when that person comes in, you can't stop this flow of energy. So it said it gets channeled in the form of anger to the person who interrupted you. So if you're not informing people, you're going to be that person that's blowing up on people a lot, that's saying things that you shouldn't mean, that everyone's kind of like, oh, we got to walk on eggshells because how's she showing up today? Because it's not anything bad, but it's just this flow of energy. It's coming through whether you want it to or not. So when you understand that informing allows you to communicate the space that you need with the other people in your life, That's how you're going to experience more peace in your life. There's going to be more flow and less resistance because you're going to be able to create without being interrupted. And then you can go back to being around other people once you're done. And that feels good for you. That feels peaceful. And that makes it so the anger isn't a feeling that you're dealing with. So if you have children, that looks like saying, mommy's going to go into her office right now and work for a while. So if you have any questions, like, please hold off until I'm done. I'll come check back in with you. But right now, I'm really going to need some time just to get my work done. It's really important. So for right now, I'm going to let you dance or watch TV or work on your projects or whatever. And I'll come back and check on you when I'm done. But until then, stay down here, play, whatever that is. Or if you have a husband saying something like, I have this amazing idea that I'm really excited about bringing to life right now, and I'm going to go work on this in my office. I don't know how long it's going to take, but if you can just please allow me to be fully tuned in. And then when I'm done with this, we can go do something together. And I would really appreciate you just giving me this time. So that way I can really just create this whole thing from start to finish. This allows you to have a conversation about your energetic needs, which are your emotional needs. And this allows you to show up as the best version of yourself. And it shows you to be the best mother, the best partner in business, because it's allowing you to know that you have this shift of anger, but how can we stay shifted towards peace? How can we bring more peace into our lives, which is communicating the needs that we have? Because for a fucking fact, if you go walk into your office and if somebody opens that door in 20 minutes, you're going to yell at them. And then be like, ooh, we shouldn't have done that. And it's like, let's avoid that. Let's avoid everybody feeling like, are we walking on eggshells today or what? When you start communicating your needs, then other people are like, oh, well, mom's in her office right now. And when I let mom be in her office and she needs to be in her office and I don't interrupt her, she comes out a happy being. She's super peaceful, easy to be around. When I don't, and she tells me that I do, whoo, does she get angry? And nobody wants to feel that. Following your design helps everyone else to live in their design. Being able to embody it, being able to communicate it, being able to express it, being able to be a physical representation of what it's like to live into your design helps everybody. Everybody benefits in all areas and all facets. It's really teaching us to understand and honor ourselves, and then being able to understand and honor others. The science of differentiation. How do we work best with others in the world that are different than us? Honoring that differences are not bad. They're beautiful, because that's how we work together. That's really what it comes down to. Now, it does seem super frustrating to have to be like, wait a minute. So I just got this super exciting, super cool thing that I just downloaded from the divine. And you're telling me I got to go talk and find every person in my house. I got to go tell them I'm going to do this. What? Why would I do that? But again, it's this doesn't have to be a long conversation. It doesn't have to take a lot of time. You can still go create your thing, but having that minute or two to have the conversation allows you to have the space that you need to use that awesome manifestor energy that you have to bring things to life, to manifest, to have fun, to be the fucking out of this world leader that we don't really know what they're doing or why they're doing it. But when they do these things, they come out really fucking cool. You are just here to be so much different than us. And that's why you have to allow yourself to live differently. And that's also why you have to communicate with other people, because of just the way your aura type is. And do you see how much more peaceful it is when you have a short, 1-2 sentence communication, and then you're able to actually go and create, and you're not interrupted. You don't blow up on anybody. You're just be able to create and manifest, and then go live your day and interact with everyone else in your life. How beautiful is that? How peaceful is that? That idea of informing now, when you think of it, this is a communication so that I can go channel my magic. then you're like, okay, yeah, like I'm going to go do this, because when I tell people, people honor me, and then I get to do what I fucking want to do. And all you want to do as a manifestor is do what you want to do anyway. So it's not about you asking for permission. You don't need to ask for permission. You're not meant to. Honestly, you're not. You're not meant to. You are meant to go do whatever the fuck you want to do because you want to do it. Period. Like, no explanation needed. But informing is just a conversation, letting people know what you're going to go do. It is not asking for permission for anything. It is letting people know, yo, this is what's up. Okay, thanks. This is what I'm going to go do. This is what I need from you. And bye. Like, that is the vibe. Informing doesn't need to be a long ass conversation. It's just like, yo, this is what's up. See you later. Like, it could literally be like a conversation while you're walking out the door. You know what I mean? Like, because the people in your life that honor your design and honor your flow, they're not going to stop you while you're walking out and try and have a 22-minute long conversation with you when you were just very clear and concise on what you needed and you were already in motion. That's so much different than you grabbing your shit and walking out the door and not saying a goddamn word, and then driving down the street and being at the park channeling something cool like on your laptop, and then your phone goes off 17 times because your husband is like, the fuck did you just go? You know, like, it's honoring you. That's what the informing is. You're going to find so much more peace when you inform, because the people in your life are going to wonder, like, they're going to be like, where'd she go? Where'd she go? If you just get up and don't say anything, they're all like, oh my God, what's wrong? I always explain it like, if you are at a party, a big dinner party, and a manifestor gets up and they go to the bathroom and they just like stand up and they go, everyone's gonna be like, is she okay? Is she okay? Is Lex okay? Like, they're like, like, everybody's gonna stop and be like, oh my God, did we say something wrong? Or are they upset? Like, should we go follow them? Da, da, da. And it was just like, no, nothing was fucking wrong. I just had to pee. So as a manifestor, if instead of just getting up from the dinner table and being like, I'm going, not saying anything, it's just like, you know, like, maybe like just nudging the person on your left that's your best friend or your partner and saying, hey, I'm just gonna go to the bathroom really quickly, I'll be right back. Like, you don't have to announce it the whole fucking table. You know, like, nobody, like, not everybody needs you to be like, all right, everybody, I know that you're having a conversation, but I just need you all to know that I'm going to the bathroom right now. Like, it's not like that. But if you just like gently nudge one person and let them know without interrupting the flow or the conversation, then it's not like weird, like, and awkward for you to make this big announcement. But it's also like, when you get back without saying anything, everyone's not bum rushing you saying, oh my God, are you okay? Like, oh my God, are you okay? And you're just like, yeah, I peed, you know, like, cause then that's going to make you angry, because it's just like, the fuck, like, I can't walk away. And so it's more about like you being able to do you, but just letting the people in your world know you're going to go do you, you know? And like, it doesn't need to be a big thing. It's just how it's that energetic refinement that we're talking about, being able to witness it and being able, for you as a manifester, I would say that it's probably one of the most important for you to be that person that is, my tank is one fourth full. I'm going to go fill up now, because anger can flip on quickly. And so if you have a lot of buffer and you're normally operating in the peace, it's going to be a lot harder for that anger to just like spur up. But if you're staying in that anger state, you're just gonna like, the anger is gonna come out a lot more often than you would want it to. So if you can take this energetic inventory and realize like, okay, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling peaceful right now, but I'm also starting to get a little irritable. So I know that that probably means that I got to switch something so that I don't blow up on someone else in my life, so that I don't lose it and then I feel bad for losing it. or whatever the case may be. But peace is really what you're here to feel. And so if you're feeling a lot of anger, that just means that you're living out of alignment and out of your design in a lot of areas. So, how can you build a life where peace is the foundation? How can you be around more people that allow you to feel peaceful? How can you work in a field where you feel a lot of peace? And again, peace is going to be different for everyone. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to go be a monk and you're going to go meditate in the Himalayan mountains for the rest of your life. Like, that's actually probably not what you're meant to do, because you're a fucking manifester. What are you going to bring to life if you're in the Himalayan mountains and you don't have anything? Like, you don't have any resources to manifest with, like, at a different level. But like, it just, that wouldn't make sense most of the time for a manifester, because there's a lot of rules and there's a lot of things. Like, as a monk, there's so many fucking rules. And as a manifester, you are an inherent rule breaker. Like, rules, they ain't for fucking you. They're not for you. That's why parents of manifestors have such a difficult time. And I fucking love it. I love when I see children that I know are a manifester, because I'm like, oh, go girl. And I'm that one, like, you gotta let them go. You gotta let them go. And their parents are like, what? But like, as a manifester, like, you guys are meant to just go. And like, people aren't meant to stop you. If you're a parent, like, and you got a toddler, maybe like observe the surroundings to make sure they're not like grabbing some glass, and they're going to drop a vase or whatever. But it's about like giving them space to do themselves. So peace doesn't mean that you are a monk. Peace means what it means for you. And nobody gets to tell you what that is. You get to decide, or you get to investigate how it really feels for you and what it shows up and what it looks like for you. Because peace is going to bring you that calm, that centeredness, that groundedness, that breath of fresh air that you're looking for as a manifester. Now, of course, we're all human, so we're going to shift and things are going to happen. Our not self theme is going to come out. But again, how can we keep shifting, consciously shifting this experimentation and this shift back towards peace, towards satisfaction, towards success, towards surprise? This is what's going to allow you to show up the best, feel your best, to be in alignment. And here's the thing is, the less aligned that we are, the more easily we fluctuate and contract. That means that your not self-theme will appear quickly. It means it'll feel like an emotional roller coaster. You're constantly feeling like you're drained. Anger, frustration, disappointment, those become your emotional homes. And that's when your energetic signature is weak, when you're letting your circumstances dictate your feelings and that circumstantial power that we were talking about. So experiencing anger isn't a bad thing as a manifester. We've been taught that anger is just such a bad emotion. But if you look at the emotional frequency scale, anger truly isn't that bad of an emotion. There are ones that are way worse that we have been taught to think aren't by traditional society standards. But when we look at the frequency scale, it's just not fucking true. So anger isn't a bad thing, but living in anger is a bad thing, right? So again, just think of it as an indicator that you're not living in your design. But since anger is just like such a potent emotion, that's why I always recommend you really trying to be very conscious of when this anger comes up. Because if you're able to be conscious about it, if you're able to build personal tools for yourself that are going to look unique to you, that help you to avoid anger, that allow you to get into peace. Like, maybe meditating every day is really peaceful for you, and that is something that you really need in your morning, and you know this and you acknowledge it. And when you don't meditate, you become angry throughout the day. So it's like, how do I build habits to support myself so that I can stay aligned with peace and not easily fluctuate towards anger? Knowing that the more I build habits to live in alignment with peace, the more peace I'm going to feel, the more my frequency range will be peaceful, the more my energetic signature will be strengthened, the less easily I'll be swayed. And if I do notice my not self theme coming up, it's going to be a gentle observation and not a full bodied, oh my God, I'm fucking screaming at somebody. And now I'm realizing, oh, that made me angry. You know what I mean? Like, how can we support ourselves and build ourselves up to create a life for success, like personal success for ourselves, knowing that our not self themes are like, they're not the sexiest vibe. You know what I mean? And realizing that we aren't wrong for having these. These are just indicators for who we are. So, as a manifester, asking yourself questions like, when do I feel the most peaceful? When do I feel angry? What areas in my life do I feel the most peaceful? When I inform people around me, how much more peaceful does that feel? When when I haven't informed people around me, how much anger did I feel? How much resistance did I feel? What does anger feel like for me? What does peace feel like to me? What are tools and habits that I can have that build more peace into my life? It's all about finding peace, moving towards peace, and not having your ego make you feel like there's something wrong with you because you experience anger. Anger is a feeling and an emotion, it is not who you are. So you don't have to identify with the anger. Learn to work with the anger and just know that the anger is not you. The anger is a sign letting you know that you're not being your most authentic self. All right. We're running out of water, so I'm glad we are on the last energy tip. And the sun is setting. All right. So, reflectors, you beautiful little angels, you are meant to move through life experiencing surprise and moving away from areas of disappointment. Your signature is surprise. Your not self theme is disappointment. And your strategy is to wait a lunar cycle. Dear darling reflectors, like every energy type is so different. We've all been conditioned so differently, but you are so freaking unique because you have so much openness in your chart. You don't have definition there. So there's so much going on. You're really here to reflect back to us. And it's just so different the way you're designed than like everybody else is. So waiting a lunar cycle to make decisions helps you experience surprise in your life, and it helps you move away from disappointment because you're allowing yourself to really feel into what's right for you instead of making decisions quickly because other people are pressuring you into it, or making decisions based on other people's opinions or energy, because you can be so easily swayed by other people. Since if somebody has definition in their chart, you're going to feel that. Like when people are around emotionals and they're non-emotionals, they start feeling all of these emotions and they're like, oh, this isn't comfortable for me. That's what happens with reflectors, like, except in every area of your chart you're just feeling other people's definition. And that's why it's really important for you to spend a lot of time alone, honestly, like not in a bad way, but like loving on yourself and having a lot of self-care time and having a lot of reflection time to really evaluate, like, what decisions do I want to make? What do I want to do in my life? Where do I want to live in my life? And realizing that for you, you're like an emotional authority. The decision is never in the moment. Like, time is the only way for you to find clarity. And clarity for you is really the stepping stone to get you to experience surprise in your life, because clarity is what allows you to experience surprise. When you don't have clarity and you try and move, or you try and make a decision, or you try and force something without being fully clear, unlike an emotional authority, you will be able to find that clarity. Emotional authorities only have like 80% of the time we can feel clear. But if you wait a full lunar cycle on something, you're really going to have this clarity as long as you are giving yourself some space to really check in with yourself. For reflectors, you really have to do energetic check-ins a lot, because you are a mirror of how society is doing. which can be a lot. Like it's a lot to feel a lot of things that aren't actually your feelings. Like you are the energetic empaths of the human design system because you are so easily influenced and you are so susceptible to other people. And that's why, because there's so many things going on, you need 30, like around 30 days, because you need to be around all these different people, places, and things so that you can decide how you want to do it. But you need to be away from all these people, places, and things so you can really honor what is your decision, because you're literally mirroring back what's happening. You could be making decisions based off of somebody else's emotions or energies. Until you really sit with it for like about 30 days, you won't know what is really yours and what's right for you, because you need this time to honor your lunar cycle and to step away from the fact that you're always absorbing others' energies, beliefs, and identities. This time alone and in a supportive place and in a supportive environment. Like, you need to be in a place where you feel supported. You need to feel safe in your environment. Your environment is so important to you because you really do need a place that's like a temple for your body to come back to, so that you can take this energetic check-in and be like, okay, is this something that I was actually feeling? Or is this because I was around somebody who was making me feel this way? Is this actually what I want to do? Or was I influenced by somebody else? Is this something that I want to commit to? Or am I feeling obligated because somebody my age should be doing something like this? And realizing that the coaching industry doesn't honor you. Like, it doesn't honor emotional authorities. It doesn't honor reflectors. It's always telling you to move quickly. So if you're in this world of personal development, you can feel a lot of shame because they're telling you to like make these decisions quickly, but it doesn't resonate with you. Like, that's why I have evergreen programs, because as a reflector, as an emotional authority, you need time. Like, even me as an emotional authority, I need time. I cannot make a big decision in the moment. It's just not the way it is. And you need time. Time is the only way to guide you towards the clarity that you need. Truth doesn't come in the moment. And it can be hard to embody when society is almost telling you like there's something wrong with you because of that. You'll feel indecisive if you don't have clarity. You'll feel indecisive if you have to make decisions quickly. It's not meant for you. And people that really honor you and see you for who you are, they're never going to rush you into things. And that is a huge, huge cheat code for you as a reflector. Are you feeling rushed? Because if you're feeling rushed into making a decision, if you're feeling pressured into making a decision, that's not you making a decision that's best for you. That's you making a decision from someone else making you feel pressured, or your open head centers being like, you're focusing on things that aren't meant for you, you're asking questions that aren't meant for you, and you're just so out of alignment, but then you feel this pressure. And so you just do these things, but then you feel disappointed because you're constantly doing things that you don't like doing, but you constantly feel pressure to do them. And you're just like, what? And it can be a lot. Like, you don't have consistent flows of energy. So it's very important for you to surround yourself in people and places that honor your energy, that make you feel lit up, that allow you to feel surprise and really move you away from feeling disappointed. If there's someone in your life that's constantly like making you feel disappointed, if there's an area of your life that's constantly making you feel disappointed, like really look at, is this somebody that you want to have in your life? Are you handling this area of your life the way that feels the best for you? Or were you told to do this by somebody else, so this is the way you're still doing it? Because you're just so differently designed, you probably feel lonely and you probably feel like you've never fit in, because you just don't approach life the same way that the rest of us do. And that is beautiful. Like, that is so beautiful that you are so uniquely built that for you, you get to really sit with things. Like, you get to really reflect on How am I feeling? What's feeling right for me? And like not rushing through things, really being present in the moment and being around people that can witness you and hold you in that beauty, because like, it is absolutely beautiful that you are divinely designed in a way where you're literally mirroring back to society how we're doing. And if we could all have a reflector in our life, like how fucking incredible would that be? Because we would have someone to look at and say, oh, like they're not doing well. That means we are not doing well. Like you are literally symbolic of how we are doing as a society. And that is a really, really beautiful role to play. So I want you to start learning that and embodying that surprise is going to come to you when you stop trying to rush things, force things, and when you allow yourself to really tune into yourself. I really recommend for reflectors to do an energetic check-in, having a monthly energetic check-in. So like for the other signs, it's really like a moment by moment energetic inventory and energetic management. But for you, it's really going to be more beneficial if you do this monthly. So like around the full moon would be a great time to do this, just because of the potent energy anyway, the releasing energy and the getting clear energy. Like it's going to be a powerful time for you to harness your energy. And like you're linked with the moon, you know what I mean? Like you're on the lunar cycle. But doing this allows you to really start checking in and being like, okay, so like these were the decisions that and the opportunities that came up during this month. Do they feel aligned? Do they feel good? Have I sat with this enough? Have I really allowed myself the time and the space with myself or around people that support me and I feel safe to communicate my needs or to bounce off of? Am I feeling like this is a yes for me? Am I feeling like this is a no for me? And really being able to do it that way. So it's not so much pressure trying to make these decisions moment by moment and take on all these things. It's like, yeah, so last month I was contemplating moving to Florida, and I still think that would feel really good for me because X, Y, and Z reason, not like forcing yourself to move to Florida in 2 weeks because you got to get out, like, because you might be disappointed. But when you give yourself that 30 days and then you move to Florida, you're just like, you're just filled with this surprise energy because you didn't rush it, because for you, Florida felt good for you. And so you decided there. Or what, it can show up in any way. It could be a work opportunity. It could be a relationship. It could be, if somebody proposes to you, society is telling you that you have to give them an answer right away. But like, what if you didn't? What if you were able to be presented with opportunities from people, places, and different areas that like are actually supporting you? And what if you found somebody that already knows before they propose to you that you need time? So, when they propose to you, they even say like, I don't need you to give me an answer right now. Like, I would love for you to sit with this because I'm here for you. Like, I want to be with you for the rest of my life. So I'm willing to wait until you are fully comfortable with making this decision because I want you to be with me like I want to be with you. You know what I mean? Like, this is why it's so important for us to understand our energetics, for us to understand our human design, because when we can live as an embodiment of how our energy shows up the best, the other people in our lives start to reflect and mirror that back to us. And as a reflector, you aren't indecisive. You're just being forced so many different opinions, moods, thoughts, feelings on a subject, and you're being asked to move without you having the time and space to be ready to know if you even want to move or to even make a decision or whatever the case may be. But it's all about honoring, like, surprise for you gets to feel good. But because you have all this openness, clarity needs to be the foundation that brings you that surprise. And that only can come from you honoring that lunar cycle that you have and realizing that that's not a bad thing. Like when you commit to something, you're committing because you've decided this is the best thing for you. And that's going to be the best thing for everyone else because of that. So for you, it's really like, what does my lunar cycle look like? When do I experience surprise? When do I experience disappointment? What does my energetic monthly check in look like? How am I practicing taking more time to decide? Am I allowing myself to live in a space where I feel safe and supported? Am I currently in an environment that feels good for me? Am I working in an area that I'm feeling fully supported? These questions are all going to allow you to really decide and define what your experience looks like. Like, how do you show up? How do you honor your lunar cycle? Because again, it's going to be different for every reflector. And I love when reflectors like get into a room with one another and they start talking, because I find that reflectors, like, y'all are soul sisters. When I one time was doing a group reading of like free mini readings, and I somehow had like 6 reflectors. Like, I get goosebumps. I somehow had like 6 reflectors in the room, and I've never met any type that was just so in sync, because we all have so many differences in our charts. Like, I could be a manifesting generator and you could be a manifesting generator, but we have a different authority. And then we've got different defined centers and different channels and different gates. So like, we experience the same things, but there's so many nuances on how we experience them. Since you as reflectors have really experienced how you're affected by the world and that energetic empath that we're talking about, and because you have such a similar design without having all of this definition in your chart, that you reflectors like really experience the world quite similarly. So one thing I always, always, always recommend is, if you can, I understand that you're only 1% of the population, so you are the most rare, but like, we find the people that we're meant to. If you have anyone in your world that is a reflector and you are a reflector, become best friends with them. No one is going to be able to see you, honor you, or hold space for you or your process. Like, I literally get emotional. Like, it's just so beautiful. Can you tell I'm an emotional authority? But it's just like, honestly, like, the sisterhood vibes that reflectors can like have for each other, because you guys can just witness each other at a level that is just so fucking beautiful and so deep. And I've just like, it's literally profound, hence why I'm like fighting back tears right now. So that is like my biggest advice I would give you as a reflector. Find another reflector, because like, they are like, or find a few of them if you can. I always joked how I was going to have a support group for reflectors, and it was just going to be a bunch of reflectors talking to each other because like, y'all are just like really fucking beautiful when you come together, like holy sisterhood vibes. All right. So I'm going to get myself together right now, and we are going to start wrapping it up, because I'm starting to lose my voice. We're starting to lose the sun, and I'm not trying to make this that long. Like, I want this to be a super profound class, but I also don't want it to be 18 years long. All right. So today, right now, I want you to start playing with your signature. How can you start experiencing more satisfaction, more success, more peace, more surprise? How can you start following your strategy so that you open yourself up to the ease of your signature? Notice when you aren't following your strategy, how quickly your not self theme appears. What are the steps that you're going to take to correct yourself? What for that pause and that pivot? What are you going to do so that you're pausing when you experience your not self theme, and then pivoting, knowing that going in this direction is not going to help anyone. So pivoting, always pivoting. We're not going further. We're not drudging it on. We're not struggling through life. We're letting go of the struggle. We're inviting an ease. So what are the steps going to look like for you? How are you going to show up and follow your signature? And when you notice that you've gotten out of alignment, What are you going to do to get yourself back into alignment? And beating yourself up is not one of those things. Like, what are you actually going to do? What steps are going to help you? And I honestly want you to think about that. Like, what can I do to get myself out of this? And it could be going for a walk. It could be putting on your favorite playlist. It could be meditating, like it could be whatever, but like understand, what are you going to do? Because you need to build tools that work for you, and you need to have habits that can help support this process until it's fully ingrained and embodied. And again, it's a process of self-examination. Like, you're constantly going to be taking this energetic inventory, or you'll be taking a monthly energetic inventory, but it's really about building an impenetrable energetic signature, becoming a magnet for your desires, realizing that manifestation becomes easy when you're living in your design, and letting it feel really fucking good. Like, that idea is so revolutionary. Life does get to feel good. And sometimes we're like, well, I can't feel satisfied all the time. Like, that's not right. Why? Why would we think that we couldn't feel satisfied? Why would we think that we can't feel successful? Why would we think that we can't feel peaceful all the time? Why would we think that we can't feel surprised all the time? Only because we've been trained to believe this. But I want you to start letting it feel good. Your work is that it gets to feel good. It gets to be easier. Your relationships get to be easier. Making money gets to be easier. You're building a standard on a life of loving yourself, that you love yourself, you love what you do, and you're feeling really good doing it. Like, that is the standard for you now. That's what I want you to go about doing. And how do you do that? You follow your signposts. You stay aligned with your signature. You follow your strategy. Your strategy, your energetic human design strategy, is always going to lead you to where you're meant to be. Fuck all the other strategies out there. The only one that matters is yours, the one that's inherently within you. And that's what your signature is always going to do. It's always going to bring you back to your highest vibrational state. So getting in alignment with this, and not that you can experience it at certain times. Again, we're standing in personal power, not circumstantial power. And personal power, it's not perfect, right? We'll drop the ball sometimes, but it's always about, how can we shift back into holding our personal power? How can we feel really excited about the life that we're building and the business that we're building and what we're contributing to in society? Like, feeling this aliveness in your body, feeling the excitement in your bones. You get to feel like this. Like, it gets to be a feeling that you get to have, and more often than not. And when you start living in your design, when you start feeling fully satisfied, when you start feeling fully successful, when you start feeling fully peaceful, when you start feeling fully filled with surprise, like, everything is going to change for you, because your feelings are generating your energetic signature. It's generating the life that you experience, because we live in a quantum world, and your current energy is creating your future moments. So when you can tap into feeling your best possible way, like, how fucking good can you feel right now? And you keep tapping into that and you keep coming back to it, it's creating an energetic signature that's based around your signature, and it's moved away from your not self theme. So that way you feel good, you're vibrating high, you're manifesting consistently, and you're living a fucking incredible life, because you're not living for some other moment. You're living in the now. You're following your design. You're using these signposts to feel how you want to feel. And then conversely, you're using the signposts that make you, or show you when you're feeling how you don't want to feel, and you're guiding yourself back, and you're constantly pausing and pivoting and redirecting. And the more you redirect yourself, the more you're redirecting the neural pathways in your brain, and you're redirecting them towards your signature. And when we redirect our brain towards our signature instead of towards our not self theme, our brain starts looking for more evidence of our signature and less evidence of our not self theme. And that's how it all like starts tying together with the mindset stuff. But realizing that your alignment is key. And there are energetic codes for you to live in your alignment. And there are ways for you to fucking thrive and feel amazing. And it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be different than what you've ever done, because the way we've been told to live has gotten us the results that we're currently living in. And for most of us, that's not what we want to experience. We want more. We want more expansion, more freedom, more joy, more love, more happiness, more success, more abundance. We want more of these things that feel good. But when we tap into those feelings now, that's the only way we're available for more. We can't get something when we're feeling the lack of that thing. So the work is moving with your signature, staying aligned with your signature, feeling really fucking good and feeling really incredible. So that way you continue to build a life that's out of this world, which is what you deserve. And this is really going to shift your frequency. It's going to allow you to start living that life and realize that these again are gradual shifts. Like, you can't just go from feeling frustrated every day or angry every day or bitter every day or disappointed every day to all of a sudden feeling the opposite of that. But how can you invite more satisfaction in? How can you invite more success in? How can you invite more peace in? How can you invite more surprise in? Sprinkling it through in little areas until all of these areas start getting into alignment. We don't have to build a mountain out of a molehill. There are codes guiding you. So when you can tap into the signposts, these guides leading you, this is when it becomes so much easier, because you're not just like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it works. You're like, this is how I'm energetically coded. So I fucking know this is how it works. And I also fucking know this is how it works because I feel really fucking good right now. Like, it's a win, 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 win across the board. So if you are really lit up by this, and if you're like, I love this, but I just like, I want to embody this deeper, this is what I work with my clients on. This is what we really get into in my mentorship. And you can also still sign up for the VIP option and get 3 weeks with me. If you want to really learn to embody your signature, just send me a DM and we can absolutely chat about this. But I am like so fucking excited for you. Like, I'm so excited for you to really be able to take this energetic inventory and for you to start living in alignment with your design and experiencing your signature, because life gets to feel good for you. It gets to be so much better than you've ever imagined. And I promise you, that's what's going to happen. Like, when you start doing this, everything is going to shift for you. And I know this because this happened for me. So thank you so much for being here. Please let me know, like, send me a DM. Like, you don't have to do it right away, but like, let this marinate a little bit. And then let me know, like, what are you experiencing? What shifts have happened? Like, how much clarity did you find realizing, oh yeah, like, I was really living out of my design. And oh yeah, I do have these emotional guidance posts that are like, okay, not the right way, totally the right way. Let me know, like, how is this experiment going for you? I would love to hear about it because I love talking about this. And I really just know how life-changing it is and how revolutionary it is, especially if you are newer to this world. So I am going to go, but thank you so much for being here. I love you so much. And I'm so excited to talk more with you. Bye.